Welcome to the Depth Dive. Today we're peeling back the layers on something many of us think we get, but maybe don't fully grasp: mental strength. And just to be clear, we're not talking about that old idea of never cry, never fail, that sort of facade.
No, exactly.
Our mission here is really to dig into what true resilience looks like, adaptability, that, solid sense of self, beyond the cliches.
Yeah, and it's so important we start right there, because mental strength, well, it often brings up these images of like being totally unfeeling, stoic.
Or that forced happiness thing.
Or worse, that forced cheerfulness, what we often call toxic positivity, the just be happy or good vibes only approach. It just dismisses people's real struggles. It can feel really invalidating.
Yeah, it brushes over the hard stuff.
Totally. And then there's the other side, that fake toughness. It's like building a wall, refusing to be vulnerable, basically avoiding difficult emotions. It's an act.
Performance.
Exactly. And these things, they aren't strength. They're really about emotional suppression. And that inevitably just leads to internal conflict, maybe even burnout.
So the real strength isn't about ignoring the storm clouds, but figuring out how to navigate through the storm, even when it feels, overwhelming.
Precisely. Yeah. True mental strength is pretty much the opposite of those surface level displays. It's about acknowledging all the emotions, even the really uncomfortable ones: anxiety, sadness, anger.
Okay.
And then consciously choosing how you respond.
Right.
Instead of just, reacting on impulse.
So it's a choice.
It's a choice. It's this internal process, really, of growth and deep self-awareness, where vulnerability isn't seen as weakness, not a crack in the armor, but actually it's proof of your courage. It's about being authentic.
That's a really powerful distinction. Okay, so if it's this internal thing, what are the signs? Like the actual actionable signs we can look for in ourselves, maybe in others too.
Right. Let's dive into 5 key ones. The first sign, and maybe the most foundational, is your ability to sit with discomfort without feeling that immediate need to escape it.
Ah, okay. Escape it how?
Well, think about that urge we all get, right? When anxiety or sadness or anger starts bubbling up, what do? We grab our phones, we scroll, maybe we overeat or lash out. Anything to just make the feeling stop, go away.
Right. Distraction, numbing.
Exactly. So it's about noticing that impulse, that urge to run, but not automatically acting on it.
Yes. When you're mentally strong, you can actually acknowledge the feeling. You let it be there for a moment.
And you kind of hold on to the awareness that, okay, this feels bad, but it's temporary.
It'll pass.
It'll pass. And this isn't being passive. It's not resignation. It's actively disrupting your brain's usual fight or flight thing. You're kind of rewiring things, building tolerance.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Let's say critical feedback at work. And it stinks.
Always does, but...
Right. But instead of jumping straight to defensiveness, like that's not fair, or despair, like I'm useless, a mentally strong person feels the sting, acknowledges, okay, this feels uncomfortable, and then calmly decides what to do next.
Without blaming or just shutting down.
Exactly. The power is in not having that knee-jerk reaction. That's the choice.
That ability to just be with the discomfort, wow, that creates some serious inner space. And I guess what often fills that space is maybe a different perspective on things happening around us, which brings us nicely to the second sign of mental strength. You don't take everything personally.
Oh, this is a huge one. Huge.
Yeah.
So many of us do this. We internalize stuff that honestly has very little, sometimes nothing, to do with us.
Like what?
Well, someone's short with you, or a project doesn't go as planned. Maybe your friend seems a bit distant. And our first thought is often, what did I do wrong? We immediately put ourselves right at the center of it all.
It's almost like a default setting, isn't it? That sort of self-blame reflex.
It really is.
Yeah.
But mentally strong people, they start to understand that other people's actions, their moods, their behaviors, it usually comes from their own internal world, their issues, their circumstances, what they're going through.
Okay.
So they learn to separate their own sense of worth from these external things, from how other people act.
So if a colleague is abrupt.
Yeah, instead of instantly thinking, oh, they must be mad at me, the thought might be, maybe they're just having a really difficult day. Or, wow, they seem really stressed.
Right, it's not automatically about you.
Exactly. It's recognizing you're not the gravitational center of everyone else's universe. Most of that negativity flying around, it's probably not a reflection on you at all.
That kind of reframing could honestly change someone's whole day, couldn't it? Just that shift. Okay, so building on that self-awareness, the third sign, and this is one I know a lot of people, maybe our listeners too, really struggle with, it's being able to set boundaries without feeling guilty.
Oh, the guilt. Yes. Such a powerful emotion, isn't it? And often really sneaky. It stops us from protecting our most valuable resources, our time, our energy, our overall well-being. Mentally strong people start to see boundaries differently, not as being selfish, but actually as fundamental acts of self-respect, self-preservation even.
Okay, so saying no isn't mean, it's necessary.
It can be. They understand that saying no to things that truly drain them or things they just don't have capacity for actually creates the space to say a genuine, energetic yes to the things that do nourish them or the things they truly want to do.
So it's not about being inflexible or rigid, but just being really clear and honest about what you can realistically offer for your own, long-term health.
Exactly that. A mentally strong person learns they can say no to an invitation without needing some big, elaborate, maybe even untrue excuse.
Yeah.
Or they can communicate their limits at work. Like, I can get to that by Tuesday, but not by end of day today.
Yeah.
Without constantly fearing backlash. They get that their capacity isn't infinite, it's finite. And managing it well, respectfully. That's their responsibility. It's not about pushing people away, it's about managing your energy.
That clarity, that's real internal strength right there. Okay, sign number 4, you bounce back. And this feels really important, not instantly. You bounce back intentionally.
Yes.
We hear resilience thrown around all the time, and sometimes it sounds like you're supposed to just, shrug off major setbacks like they're nothing.
And that's a really key distinction to make. That myth of instant resilience, it's everywhere. And it's unhelpful. True recovery, it isn't immediate. It's not like a rubber band just snapping back into shape instantly.
Okay.
Real bouncing back involves, first, acknowledging the pain, the disappointment, the frustration, letting yourself actually feel it.
You don't skip that part.
You don't skip that part. And then you consciously, deliberately engage strategies to recover. It's a process, often a difficult one.
So it's less about somehow avoiding the fall and more about having a conscious plan for how you get back up after you've hit the ground.
You absolutely nailed it.
Yeah.
Think about a big professional setback. A project fails, you lose a client, whatever it is. A mentally strong person allows themselves to feel that disappointment. Maybe they even need to grieve the loss of that opportunity or that plan. That's okay. But then they intentionally do things. They practice self-care. They really reflect on what happened, what went wrong, what they can learn. And then, crucially, they actively plan their next steps forward. They don't just sit there ruminating endlessly or falling into that victim mindset. Recovery becomes an active choice, a series of deliberate actions, not magic.
That speaks to a really deep sense of purpose, doesn't it? Something guiding the actions even when things are tough, which actually leads perfectly into our final sign, number 5.
Yeah.
You act based on your values, not just your moods.
Yes. This is one of the, I think, most profound signs of real mental strength. Because our moods, well, they're all over the place, aren't they?
Oh, definitely. Up and down.
Yeah. We wake up feeling great one day, totally sluggish the next. You can go from irritable to happy in like an hour.
Yeah.
If we only did things when we felt like it or when our mood was just right, well, we'd probably get very little done, especially the important stuff.
Right. We'd always be waiting for inspiration or motivation to strike.
Exactly. So it's about making choices from somewhere deeper than just the kind of emotional tide of the moment.
That's it, precisely. Mentally strong individuals, they tend to have a really clear sense of their core values, what truly matters to them deep down.
Maybe it's integrity or compassion or growth or connection, family, whatever it is for them.
Okay.
So when they face a choice or a difficult situation, they don't just ask, how do I feel right now? They also ask, what decision aligns with my values? What kind of person do I want to be in this situation?
That's a powerful question.
It really is. It's about psychological flexibility.
Oh.
So, for example, if kindness is a core value for you, you might choose to respond kindly even if you're in a terrible mood and someone's really annoying you.
Yeah.
Because the value is more important than the temporary feeling.
Right.
Or if growth is a core value, you push yourself to learn that difficult new skill even when you feel zero motivation because you know it aligns with who you want to be.
It's like disciplined action, but rooted in purpose, not just feeling.
Exactly. Not just tossed around by the whims of emotion.
Wow, okay. That's incredibly insightful. Shifting from fleeting feelings to those solid principles. Now, look, we received a listener message, sort of a confession that I really want to bring up because I think it's quite common. It basically says, I cry when I'm stressed, and I feel like that makes me weak. How would you respond to someone feeling that way?
Oh, thank you for sharing that. And to the listener, please know you are so far from alone in feeling that. Crying when you're stressed. It's a profoundly natural human response. It really is.
Natural.
Well, it's biological. It's a physical mechanism, like a release valve for all that pent-up emotion and tension. It's actually your body's built-in way of coping with being overwhelmed.
So it's not a sign of failure, but actually a sign that your coping system is working.
That's a perfect way to put it, yes. The whole idea that crying equals weakness, a really harmful misconception. It's often something we absorb from society, these pressures that equate strength with being stoic, never showing emotion.
Keep it all in.
Right. But true strength, as we've been talking about, isn't about not feeling things. It's about feeling them, acknowledging them, understanding what they're telling you. Honestly, it takes immense courage to be vulnerable, to allow yourself to experience the whole range of human emotion, including sadness, including stress.
So crying could even be seen as a sign of strength.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
Because it means you're not suppressing those emotions. And we talked about how suppression can lead to bigger problems later on. The real strength, perhaps, lies in what you do after the tears. Do you let yourself feel it? Do you sit with that discomfort for a bit, like we discussed in Sign 1? Do you acknowledge the stress? And then, do you intentionally look for solutions or reach out for support? That's where the resilience really shows up.
That makes so much sense.
So please, listener, be incredibly kind to yourself about this. Your tears are not weakness. They're a sign you're human and that you're feeling deeply. And that's actually a very powerful and courageous thing.
That's such a compassionate and, empowering way to look at it. Thank you. Okay, as we start to wrap up this deep dive, I want to offer you, our listener, just a little moment for a strength check-in. Like maybe take a second now or later today just to reflect on those 5 signs of mental strength we talked through. First, can you sit with discomfort without needing to escape it, even for a little while? Second, do you manage to avoid taking everything personally all the time? Third, can you set boundaries, even small ones, without being overwhelmed by guilt? Fourth, do you bounce back from setbacks, maybe not instantly, but intentionally with conscious effort? And fifth, do you find yourself acting based on your core values, even when your mood is trying to pull you in another direction? Just consider, which of these do you already see in yourself, even in small ways? Maybe you chose not to distract yourself for just 5 minutes this week when you felt anxious. Acknowledge that. And then maybe think about which one resonates most right now, which one feels like something you'd like to perhaps cultivate a bit more. Start working on next. Because remember, building mental strength, it's absolutely a journey. It's dynamic, not some static destination you arrive at. It takes consistent, gentle effort and really getting to know yourself better.
And maybe leave you with this thought. You are stronger than you know. Much stronger. Keep exploring that.